Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
The four horsemen ride again.
Yep, that's right. And,
This-
and horsewoman.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. All of us.
On the couch. Mark
Four.
is on the couch once again.
Well, all right. We are off to Ohio, Michigan, and Connecticut to talk about the Melon Heads of Ohio, Michigan, and Connecticut. This was a listener-submitted topic from Dravenous Thorn on Twitter. So, Dravenous Thorn, thank you for the idea. Hopefully, you enjoy our rendition of Melon Heads. Yeah. Everybody ready? And a one, and a two, and a... Our rendition. We're not going to sing it?
No, I don't.
We worked it out in post, but apparently we're not going to do it. Worked out in post.
The bass player is gone. There's nothing we can do without the bass player.
You know, actually, that's true.
See?
Bass is what keeps everything together. Mm-hmm. Not the lead guitar. Not the lead singer. It's the bass player.
The bass player. Come on.
Oh, boy.
I mean, just because I play bass, no, I'm not biased at all. Right. It's just true.
Are you a bass biased?
Oh.
Is that what it is? You're bass biased?
No, I'm bass
Biased.
forward.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice. All right.
Hey, everybody, especially if this is your first time listening, this is a show where we talk about paranormal stuff and not weird things about the bass.
Yeah.
We do tend to go off the rails,
Yep.
but we're going to talk about the Melon Heads. We got listener feedback. We got a listener story. And I'm sure all kinds of other crazy things that will come out of our crazy brains. But rather than take too much time away from the main topic, since Alicia's looking at me, always the one keeping the show on the right tracks.
Right.
I do what I can. Now, from the New England Historical Society, I'm going to quote something that they have in one of the articles. The Melonheads look like small humanoids with oversized heads, and they rarely come out from hiding. They survive by eating small animals, stray cats, and human flesh, usually the flesh of teenagers.
As one does.
Yes. Now,
Dave, what would you like to explain that statement?
Whoa.
No comment.
oh boy. Now, Melonheads is the name given to legendary beings that live in the forests of Ohio, Michigan, and Connecticut. There are differing variations of how they came to be depending on which area you were in, but for the most part, they appear human but with bulbous, melon-like heads, and they prey upon humans who wander into their territory. Those that claim to see a melonhead say they are completely bald with a bulbous head, abnormal arms and legs, teeth that look like daggers, and have red eyes. Now, I'll start with Michigan, and you guys can pick up the other states. But in Michigan, apparently the legend of the Melonheads, they actually started in Michigan. Now, the Melonheads of Michigan were originally children with hydrocephalus, which is a buildup of fluid in the brain, which then puts pressure on the brain. And lots of times it causes the skull to get abnormally large and misshapen. But they lived in Junction Insane Asylum, or in other versions I see a hospital where they were being treated near Felt Mansion. Now, after experiencing both physical and emotional abuse, they became feral mutants. Not really sure how they became mutants.
Well,
at that
the
point,
abuse would drive a person to it. Any abuse really ever drives a person to become feral.
Okay. Well, the feral part, yes, I understand that. But
Mutiny, but no, you're leaning towards the X-Men.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm sorry.
Well, I heard that some of them have psychic powers.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Perhaps.
Well, wasn't that the Deadpool origin story where they just pushed him to such limits that he
Oh.
became a mutant?
It's like, Nash, you remember that episode of the original Star Trek where they kind of had bulbous heads, but they could do telepathy? They were like wicked smart, and their brain would
In the pilot
pulse
episode.
when they were like talking. Yeah, it was the pilot with Captain Pike.
That's
Who
right.
immediately was replaced with Captain Kirk.
Yeah, and the one where Spock actually smiled in the very first episode,
did
which
he?
he wasn't supposed to, but he did. He did. That's okay.
So, due to lack of funding, the facility that they were in was shut down. So the children, they were released into the surrounding forest since they...
What?
I know.
I know. I was like, what? What did you just say?
I know. They had nowhere to go, so they were just, it was
You're
kind
free.
of... Yeah, you're free. Go for it.
We don't want you here anymore. Go to your home.
What year was this?
I don't know. I don't have a year.
You can't just
I know.
do that.
I know. So because of the trauma they endured during this time, they decided to kill the doctor that had been treating them.
Of
you know.
course.
This is like straight out. This is a horror movie script.
Right.
Yeah, right?
I'm pretty sure that was justifiable.
Right. So they killed him, and because they didn't want to have to get rid of a whole body, they cut up the body into smaller pieces and then hid them around Felt Mansion.
Oh, I thought you were sure going like, so they didn't have to, they just ate it.
That's what I was going to say.
Well-
is they cut them up into little bits and then like barbecue it.
I mean, I feel like I don't know if it's in Michigan, but there have been, like when I was looking up the other states, some of them, they resorted to eating each other or eating people.
That's what you do when you have dagger-like teeth.
Yeah. Yes.
Or you go to a dentist.
A dentist.
and
Get him
see if you can
capped.
get him capped.
Get him
Right.
capped, yeah.
So then they began to dwell in underground caves that were nearby, and they were apparently left over from an old abandoned zoo.
What? This is not.
I know.
Wait. So there was no funding.
No.
So the doctor released them.
Yeah.
They killed the doctor and ate
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And then moved to a zoo
Well, they were in the caves underneath.
underneath
The
the
zoo.
zoo. Oh,
Yeah.
because
But it was near the mansion, too.
that's
so-
because they needed a constant food source.
Are you sure you didn't find details about a movie?
I know. I
This
swear
just
to
sounds
God,
like
I
some
know.
very bad B movie.
Yeah. And they're
You
saying
know,
that,
in Police Academy with Bobcat Goldthwait, that whatever, Police Academy 3, whatever it was, like him and his gang were living like in an abandoned zoo, right?
and that's how the movie split with the guy who played Professor X. He existed in the subterranean tunnels underneath the zoo.
Okay.
That's where you get all the free food.
So, anyway,
And if you have sharp teeth, you get the nom noms. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
James
No,
McAvoy.
no.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. and M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
This sounds like a M. Night.
I know.
Yeah, it does.
So I can't wait till we get to the twist part.
Right.
You just have to go twist at the very end.
Right. So legend has it that some teenagers who broke into the mansion, obviously they were, doing the thing.
Going there
that-
to have sex?
What?
That or maybe they were just exploring because there's like a whole what is it? Urban X?
Urbex?
Urbex.
Don't get me
explorers.
started on
I know.
that found footage movie we just watched.
So they were exploring underneath the zoo?
They were breaking into the mansion, Felt Mansion, not the zoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so they saw ghosts of the children, and they claimed to see shadows of actually the killing of the doctor. So, they actually, I guess, saw like almost an image of it happening.
Like a rerun.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really cool effect. We we ever talked about something like that before in a haunting?
No.
Where
You see
the
a
shadows
shadow?
are playing out
Yeah.
Yeah.
events from the past.
Right.
No,
A
but
full
that's-
scene playing out.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that
Yeah.
a Winchester Mansion thing? Wasn't there something similar to that in Winchester Mansion?
Well, I mean, there's always
remember
the
that.
apparitions
remember that
that
either.
are going through like what actually happened. What
Yeah.
is that called?
Right, but that's the apparition itself, not
True.
like a shadow.
No, you're right.
Where an apparition is just kind of reliving a single moment over and over again.
Yeah.
Sharpened teeth.
So God. So what I was looking into this, the insane asylum or even a hospital treating those kind of children never actually existed per the Allegan County Historical Society. But there was a prison at one point, so you never know. And just a side note for the Michigan part of it, Felt Mansion actually became a seminary at one point. It's not that anymore, but the kids that were going there were called Melon Heads by the public school kids because they were considered smart.
So the smart kids
The smart kids were called Melon Heads.
Yes, because
Big brains.
big brains. Yeah. So,
But was that before or after they all went into the zoo tunnels and started eating everybody?
well, that's the thing. The Historical Society says that that never really happened.
Yeah,
So,
but they
like,
don't
why are
know.
people
They
seeing?
don't know.
Why are people seeing or hearing or whatever in this area of these larger headed, I guess, creatures? Just a thought. But so, Nash, you're going to talk about Ohio.
Ohio.
Why don't you do that?
Right now. Okay.
Do it right now.
So
The show would like to apologize to everybody who lives in Ohio right now before this goes down.
because it's going to Nash, and it's going south farther than Ohio. So in Ohio, because Ohio's not very south. That's all. It's a geographical thing. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, so what happened in Ohio was much more nefarious than what happened in Michigan. So in Ohio, there was an evil doctor. Okay. So apparently in Ohio, people were taking children and they were kind of like finding a location in the woods, and they were supposedly they were taking these children and they were dumping them in the woods.
Oh, that's
What?
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that echoes back to what Lish said, where they just like, yeah, you know what? We don't know what to do with you, so
Yeah.
there's the woods, go.
That was basically it.
So dumping them alive, like basically, just go, not dumping bodies of kids.
Well, no.
Okay.
They got to be alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, that'd be
Wow.
terrible.
That's
What are you talking about?
What? What happened in your state, man?
when I think
oh
of-
my God.
The term dumping somebody usually means
yeah.
Dropping them
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Dropping them off.
right. Yes.
Dropping them off and running away.
So in the stories in Ohio, there was one central doctor, and his name was Dr. Crow. And Dr. Crow, I guess there's a couple different versions of his name.
Oh, he
Crow.
doesn't sound like a villain at all.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And he fit that moniker perfectly. So he was finding these kids, and that were left in this one's. Oh, I had it even written down. Oh my gosh! Yeah,
Well, your notes are so tiny.
I know.
it's not the size of the notes, Mark. Oh my gosh! Now I'm trying to skim my area to see if I can find out exactly where it was, but I can't. He was finding these kids, and he was injecting these kids with this fluid to make their heads even bigger. Okay. And what happened when he injected this fluid into these kids' brains is they made them kind of go bonkers a little bit. And then what I didn't find is what the heck he was doing with the kids after he enlarged their heads. And then there was another question is, why was he doing that? I never got to that either.
Because he's
Well,
a villain.
he wasn't a doctor. At least the one that I saw, he was a scientist.
Oh, great.
He's a scientist, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
TV.
Dr. Crow. Did he just
Well,
have...
his name is Dr. Crow, so he probably has, what is that degree?
Did he get a doctorate just because
Yeah.
people
got
liked him?
He got a doctorate in being a dickhead.
Oh!
So yeah, so
How many years for that one?
Yeah, it's an 8-year program. You really had to earn it. It says in the first version, Dr. Crow has somehow managed to acquire, either kidnapped or through a secret deal with a local mental hospital he worked at. He acquired several individuals that he subjugated to bizarre experiments. Bizarre. It's always a good word. Most of which focus on the brain and the head. Due to severe trauma, the individuals' heads deformed and became misshapen. But since some of Dr. Crow's experiments also include lobotomies, the Melonheads, listen to me, the Melonheads are rather docile, if not a bit slow. So what ended up happening is, I think he just kind of abandoned them and left them out in the woods, kind of to defend for themselves. So these Melonheads were like, they're out there, they're figuring it out, they're getting to know each other, they've got sharpened teeth. And what do you do with sharpened teeth? Is you find stuff and you eat it. So there's a couple different variations on what Dr. Crow, and there's a whole thing about Mrs. Crow.
What? I didn't see that.
There's a whole thing about his wife. It said that while assisting her husband, Dr. Crow, in lovingly caring for these children, Mrs. Crow began to see how the Melonhead nickname was hurting the children's feelings.
Aww.
Right? Because I guess it'd be pretty cruel to just experiment on a kid and then call him a Melonhead the entire time.
Yeah.
That's abuse on some freaky stuff. Right?
You are correct.
Yeah. Insult to injury, Her motherly instincts kicking in as Mrs. Crow drew the children closer to her, protecting them from the outside world. In turn, the children began to look at Mrs. Crow as their very own mother. Unfortunately, Mrs. Crow kicked the bucket one day, sending the children's collective world crashing down. Feeling they were now lost without their mother, the children panicked and began running and thrashing about. So they took off. She died. Her husband, who I don't know if there was a collaboration there. I would assume so.
Yeah.
Because there would be a lot of children running around with really big heads and sharpened teeth and, trying to eat stuff. So the kids took off. They freaked out. They took off into the woods, and they created this kind of like a mini society out in Ohio. And from time to time would go out and prey on people and animals, just like that, just like what we were saying, because that's what you do when you have sharpened teeth. So, I've got a bunch of
maybe, maybe not.
Well, what else would you do if you sharpened your teeth?
Well, they didn't sharpen their own teeth.
No.
How do you know?
Right. Your story led me to believe that Dr. Crow
sharpened their teeth for him.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're still out there in the woods sharpening them.
Well, they're not like, hey, buddy, you got some nice teeth, but they're not quite that sharp. And he's like, hey, you're right about that. Let me get a file or a rock and sharpen them even more.
Boy.
It's not like that. It's just like whatever the mutations that Dr. Crow was doing, when Mrs. Crow died, the kids kind of went bonkers and kind of took off because it shattered their world. Their mother died. The only person that they knew love and affection for kicked. So out they went. And are you going to be able to stop 20, 30 kids with large heads and sharpened teeth from getting away from you?
No, I thought can I stop? I tell you what, if 30 kids with large heads and sharp teeth came at us right now, I could stop them. I'm looking around Dave's basement, and we got a sword hanging on the wall over there.
So you're going to go in a full Conan the Barbarian and start mowing these kids down.
Well, you were talking about how they eat people. So, yeah, got to defend yourself.
Right.
But they didn't resort to that at first. They weren't killing first. They were loving kids.
Yeah.
Till the Dr. Crow.
Till the Dr. Crow started doctoring them up.
And mess with them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did see that they ended up killing Dr. Crow.
Yeah.
And they burnt down his...
Yeah, there was a huge
place.
fire, and either they were presumed to be dead or they took off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so...
So in the found footage movie version, these teenagers go back to this dilapidated asylum or hospital, only to find out that the story is true, I mean, all of this sounds very much like a bad found footage horror movie.
Yeah.
I'm not crapping on the idea. I feel like I've seen a lot of this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure some filmmakers have already pulled little pieces
Little
of
bits,
these
right?
stories
Yeah.
to make a sensational horror movie.
Right.
Because some of this sounds so very familiar.
And I have further accounts of different sightings of these melonhead kids throughout Ohio. One of which was very alarming because this one there was a ditched melonhead running alongside a road. Okay, is what it was called. I'm just going to give
Did
you.
you say there was a ditched melonhead running alongside a road?
Yeah, like Carl Lewis, cooking along, like doing like Hussein Bolt, running along, So that was my running sounds, just in case anybody.
Plus, you guys can't see the actual
I was
movements
actually
he was
pumping
making.
my arms as I was doing
Like
that.
he was the Flash or something.
Yes, yeah, open hand, karate chop style. So there was one. I'm going to read this one directly, or as close as I can. This guy named Tony. He said, I recently had an experience with the Melonheads. It was on October 5th of 2001. My stepfather, mom, and stepbrother and I were driving along Chillicothe Road.
You got it.
Is that it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Chillicothe
Oh, no, I'm
Road.
just like,
You're Chardon,
I'm just cheering you on, man. You
That's
got
it.
it.
That's it. See, you know where I'm going with
Yep.
this. Yeah.
I had just crossed it off my notes.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. So we've been driving up and down the roads in the same area for almost an hour with no luck. They were looking. I don't know what the heck they were doing there. We were just about to go home when we came upon a stretch of road that had fields on both sides and an irrigation ditch running parallel to each side of the road. Well, it happens all the time. You see that all the time. Just then,
Happens all the time. There just has to be irrigation
well, if you see on the
ditches.
side of the road, kind of, and then there's like a ditch on the side of the road, like an irrigation ditch. Just then, I look out my window and I saw him, a melonhead. He or it was running along next to the ditch. Okay, kids can do that. Whatever. The kids are, out running around. They're ramming. They're having a good old time. Since the ditch was
It
too
sounds terrifying.
Right.
If just kids are running around all night in ditches.
I'm next to the ditch. They're not in the
Oh,
ditch. Oh my gosh. Since the ditch was too wide to jump over, which that's a question right there because those ditches aren't real super huge, unless you have little teeny tiny legs with little teeny tiny feet.
Well, aren't most of Melonheads kind of short?
Yeah, we'll get to
It's
that.
a funny thing that it's a funny thing you asked that question, Mark. Good segue,
I didn't
my
actually
friend.
ask a question.
Oh, you alluded to it. Anyway, he
I guess I
heard-
sort of it was a question.
was running along next to the ditch. Since the ditch was too wide to jump over, it was coming close, like it was about to jump. It was like
And then it fell into the ditch? 'Cause that would be funny.
he should have tripped. Is what it was. He should have tripped and just hit his
Roll
head, and then rolled over like an old punching bag kind of a thing. Then it was coming close, then pulling away. At the time, we were going about 45 to 50 miles an hour, and the melonhead was actually keeping up with us. 45 to 50 miles an hour. So this kid was Speedy Gonzalez.
Right.
So I'm thinking that if he was running,
That's like double Usain Bolt.
it's like triple almost, because we do 20, 25-ish at full sprint. Hussein probably does. Yeah, 20, 25.
Nobody
yeah.
in this room does
Yeah, no.
25 miles an hour full sprint.
I always measure speed on if there was a lion chasing you.
Oh, then 25 sounds about right.
Right. Hussein would be much faster than that.
Right.
Yeah. It said it didn't look anything like I had heard the stories. It looked about the same height as me, 5'7". So a 5'7" melonhead so proportionally speaking, the melonheads before were what? We imagine them in
I imagine them like 4,
3
5?
foot, 3
Yeah.
foot, 4 foot, something in that ballpark.
Yeah.
With kind of the head of a basketball.
An alien. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that at another 50% taller.
And then running 45 miles an hour.
Right. So that means his head would have been the size of a small CRT TV.
But at that side, right, it would also be it's really going to be detrimental to like the speed he can run because that's just catching wind left and right,
Unless
slowing him down.
And top heavy, so
And top,
Yeah.
unless
Center gravity.
unless you're really using like forward weight, you're leaning way forward and using the weight to help you get through there. You know,
True.
Yeah,
but then if you
you-
lean too much forward,
You're done
You're
for.
actually in the ditch.
yeah, and you're scooting along and your legs are up in the air. As you're there's a skid thing like the Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah. So,
I've done that.
yeah, right. And we all have, right? So yeah. So it said he looked about the same height and was wearing brown pants, which were very ripped up. And where the seams would be, it was held together what looked like corn husks. So that's
Children of the Corn.
yeah. It wore a white shirt with brown and red stains all over it. And the
Tell me
dude-
what those stains were.
yeah, he says hoping that the red stains weren't blood, which I hope not. But
This guy gets it. He wore his brown pants.
right, exactly right. Its head was a very light brown tint. It had 2 holes in the sides of its head, which we think were ears. Its head was swelled up, and his eyes were very big looking. So I get this image of almost like a gray alien, a very tan gray alien with a bulbous head, little teeny tiny feet, but cooking at like 50 miles an hour.
But whatever happened? Was he just chasing the car
He just
out of
said-
here?
he
Get
said-
out of
he
here?
said just
Or
as-
did it jump onto the car? And
It says, just as we turned the curve, it jumped into the woods. And that's my story about the Melonheads.
that's it.
Yeah.
Now, if the woods were thick woods, okay, and there were dense woods, those trees are what, a couple feet apart? So if you're 5'7" and your head is the size of a CRT television, let me tell you, navigating those woods with that giant
The
bobbly...
trees in the woods are like a couple feet apart, right?
Yeah. He's like that giant bobblehead thing. That's got to be. It's got to be really hectic to get through woods with that bobblehead.
It's like going through the forest of Endor full speed.
Yes, it's not a good idea. You got the logs falling down, and you're zipping along on those little rider things. Right. Oh, it's dangerous. But 40 to 50 miles an hour. So that means that the giant dome that he or her was sporting, was helping with being able to keep those little legs moving that fast.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So that did take me down a rabbit hole as never happens ever, as to some of the other things. So that got me thinking.
Oh,
I have
there's like a meme that I want to have, like with a guy making a weird face, and that face that Mark makes when Nash pulls out yet another
a second
piece
set
of
notes.
paper
Yeah.
with notes.
Yeah.
Oh no! Or now the current meme is like my fall plans. The Delta.
Oh, is
variant.
that's the one where the guy's walking and he's looking back like this, and then the girlfriend smacks him. on the
that's
head.
been used for a
Yeah.
bazillion times.
It's kind of the same thing.
But yeah, I thought Nash was done. Then all of a sudden, mysteriously, he pulls out.
Sorry, guys. I would have had you guys do first
Yeah.
before we went to Nashville.
Yeah.
That just-
Dave and I are waiting for Connecticut,
I
but it looks
know.
like Michigan's still taking
Nope.
priority.
Ohio.
Boss.
Ohio. Oh, you were Michigan.
I-
Michigan had nothing to say.
Yeah. Michigan was Snoozeville. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
That's because I went first.
It's all about Ohio.
That just got me thinking about who was Dr. Crow working for? Was it a government?
Who was number 2 working for?
That's right. Was it a government conspiracy? Was he experimenting on any other things? So I also have the 11 most bizarre creatures in Ohio that would also be experiments that Dr. Crow.
and Bigfoot's big out in Ohio.
Well, there's a whole. So was the Grassman.
Oh.
So was the Loveland Frogman.
Yep.
Oh.
We talked about him.
Yeah, see, so there's a whole slew, a second set of notes that prove, without a shadow of a doubt,
I met the grass man.
that well,
Oh, boy.
he was cutting the grass.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Okay,
what
there you go. See, double entendre. You know what I'm saying? Nice.
Are you going to go through your list?
I am not going to go through that list.
And number 1.
The number
What are we doing
one
list?
is the Loveland Frogman.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, number 2 is Grassman, which looked like a giant Wookiee made of grass.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You sure it's not just a guy in one of those ghillie suits?
Oh, yeah.
Just
It
trying to
could
start
be.
some crap out there?
Right.
But oddly enough, the number 3 is Mothman.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ohio, right there,
Yeah,
the
it's
border
right on the
of
border.
West Virginia, where the whole thing went down.
There's the Minerva monster. Now I'm going to go through the whole list.
Oh
See,
no, yeah, we.
You tease that out of me.
Listen, that wasn't
Oh,
me,
were you saving this
so-
for later?
No, I'll go through it now. That's fine.
Yeah.
The Minerva monster.
Connecticut can wait.
Yeah, Connecticut can wait. Damn it. The
Hell with
cedar.
Connecticut.
There's also the cedar bog monster.
The cedar bog monster.
Yeah. Old orange eyes.
Oh.
Yeah. Charles Mills Lake monster. Lake monster. And let's see. The Crosswick monster. The best.
Is that like John Wick's cousin?
Kind of. Less guns though.
But in this case, somebody killed his cat.
Right.
That's why.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's Bessie, the Lake Erie monster. The Peninsula Python. Anyway.
Why does that have to be?
Yeah.
I call it other things. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
And then
How many beers have you had?
this is
Come
only
on.
my fourth.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, that's nothing.
that's nothing.
Yeah.
And my favorite cryptid of all time, the Dogman.
Okay.
So I have.
Actually, this is news to me that your favorite cryptid is Dogman.
Yeah, it is.
When did you decide this?
Quite a while ago.
We only did one episode about the Dogman. It came up maybe here and there. But
Like a year and a
for
half,
I don't
guy,
think-
years ago.
for a
Yeah.
guy who gives himself his own nickname, which is weird, but you
I didn't give myself that nickname.
oh bullshit. For somebody that's talked about the Sasquatch out in Arizona, and all
Yeah.
that, all of a sudden you're like, oh no,
The
my
Dogman.
favorite
Dogman.
cryptid is the Dogman.
He's the Dogman.
Frank is so sad.
I know.
Well, Frank's got a lot of really good followers and a lot of variations on Frank, but the Dogman, it's a foot soldier, man. He's the foot soldier of the army. That's my favorite. And he's the only cryptid in all of them, everywhere, that you could tame with a biscuit.
No, you could not.
You could
No, you cannot.
with a
Hey,
squeaky
look,
with a squeaky toy and a biscuit. Oh, the Dogman is just sitting on your porch.
I think if you even pull that move, the Dogman will come in
No.
for the biscuit and the squeaky toy only to lure you to an ass whooping.
Not if
Because
you-
he was going to take that as a massive insult.
Not if you give him the biscuit and the squeaky toy and you give him a little scratch behind the ears. He's yours forever.
Well,
He's yours forever.
it's not how I would write the story.
That's how Lulu would write the story. Everybody knows Lulu. She's the expert on the Dogman.
She's no Dogman.
No.
Dave, take this away.
Please.
Please.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's right.
We have a whole other state to go over. Right.
Going over to Connecticut.
Okay, so for those of you who know anything about geography, Connecticut is nowhere near Ohio or Michigan. So this is kind of an outlier.
It's up in the New England
Yes.
states.
The other thing of this is it's not nearly as exciting as Michigan or Ohio.
Right.
But some interesting similarities here. So the one of the big questions of how did the Melonheads get to Connecticut? And so I found 3 different origin stories here.
3. You're not allowed to have 3. You got to have 1.
Well, no, they're all possibilities.
Oh.
Variations.
So in all 3 examples here, there's a common theme. That the group
Fast and the Furious?
was pushed out into isolation, and that's what caused all of this. But the first possibility is there was a witch trial, as was normal for the New England area.
She's a witch.
Yeah. And I've seen conflicting reports where either they escaped, this family of witches either escaped from their punishment, or their punishment was to be banished and just sent out into the woods.
When the typical witch punishment was burning.
Burning, yeah. So I don't know. They probably escaped.
I would think escaped because, I mean, if I was a settler back then, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's a witch, just let her go out.
Let them go somewhere else.
Okay, quick question though. Does anybody remember what the setting was for the Scarlet Letter?
It was in New England.
Was it New England? Because
Yeah.
that was in the witch. That was in the.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, the Scarlet
Slightly, it was
Letter,
different.
Right, that wasn't witches.
But she was banished
Right.
though, or she had to wear the patch.
The patch, right.
Yeah, so she wasn't banished, but she was shamed.
She was
Right.
ostracized
Right.
or something
Right.
like that. Okay.
But that wasn't witchcraft, that was adultery.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you're thinking
It was a little bit different.
all right. Now we're on the right track.
Yeah. The second was that there was a group of individuals or family members who were of a mixed race in Appalachia. Americans haven't always been tolerant to mixed race, so they left and formed their own little enclave out in the woods.
A coven.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wait, did you say a coven?
A coven.
Well, that would be the witches. This is not
Well,
witches.
it showed up late, but that was with the last story.
My God.
I'll get there eventually.
And then the third one was that there was a group of escaped mental patients.
Okay.
Now, this has, again, two variations to it. The first one
A
was...
sub two?
Yes.
Nice.
That there was either a entire family that was in the mental hospital, and they escaped and went to be their own thing out in the woods. Or that there was an inbred family that was brought into the mental hospital, and from there they took off. So it's, yeah.
I also want to bring up, referencing a previous episode we did, where we talked about reasons why women would sometimes be not is it condemned or admitted to a mental hospital.
Right. Admitted is way different than condemned to the
well, because it would be condemned for the wife, but it would be if the husband was mental, he would go to the mental hospital. But if a woman back in the day wasn't it like just disagreeable or something like that?
Hysteria.
Yeah, that she would be committed to it also. So that could very well be the case.
Right.
That could very. I was just thinking of a whole family being there, and I'm thinking a husband and wife. The husband's gone Looney Tunes, but the wife's pissed off about it, so they admit them both.
Right.
Yeah.
So I saw in the fall of 1960 an asylum for the criminally insane burnt to the ground, and all the staff and most of the patients died.
Right.
And there were like 10 to 12 or 10 to 20 that they couldn't find.
Right.
And those are the ones
Really?
that are out.
But
doing this,
the
but-
interesting thing is there's a variation on that story that the doctor at the Connecticut asylum was Dr. Crow. So he got around. There is an almost identical story in Connecticut and Ohio.
Yeah.
I wonder because he died in Ohio. I wonder if he spent his early years toying with people's brains in Connecticut. And then was like, yo, this is boring. I'm going to go have a Children of the Corn out in Ohio.
Well, but see,
Or when he was in Connecticut, he was like, oh, this went bad. I got to find another place to
Peace
go.
out.
Well,
Bye.
but it sounds like they actually killed him in Connecticut. So, like, he came back as an archlich and moved to
because he's the
Ohio.
Crow.
And-
So, he came out.
Oh, God.
Oh, nice. I like that.
I get it. Bringing it back to...
But in any case, so in all
Comic
three
book
of those
reference.
potential origins, they all lead to the same conclusion, that this group that was isolated from everything has for generation and generation been inbreeding. And that's been the cause of the misshapen head is just due to the inbreeding, and that they're almost feral and they're out stalking in the woods, eating, again, small animals. Same thing with known to eat human flesh, all that stuff.
Just of teenagers.
Right.
Out
Children and
having, we're
teenagers.
just creating a ruckus, as teenagers do,
Yep.
eating stuff.
We all learned from Friday the 13th what not to do in the woods.
Right. So I have one quick description of a story of encounter with them, and then Mark, I know you have one. So the one that I found is that they were actually they're known to live off of heavily wooded roads. So there's a number of roads in Connecticut that meet this criteria. And it so happens that when the workers are tasked with paving the roads, they always report seeing dark figures in the woods spying on them, moving from tree to tree and getting strange noises. And it always creeps the workers
Sorry about
out.
that.
So it...
Oh, that wasn't me. Sorry.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Dave lose concentration.
Nash killed Dave's concentration.
Just like that. Boom, gone.
So in any case, that's what the workers report.
So they had that sense, that ominous sense of being watched.
Well, and they could actually see these figures moving in the
Oh,
woods.
well, and now did you find anything on like their height or not height, but their height on, how big they were and whatnot? Because if they were 5'7", seeing these things in the woods would be easy because they look like balloons on a string.
So I did see that it's families. It's not just kids. The kids are the ones that get the most attention, but that it's an inbred family structure. It's like I said, isolated enclave.
Right. There was an X-Files about this too.
The one story that I was reading was it started off with The Hills Have Eyes as the if you've seen that, it's like think that, and that's what the Connecticut side is.
Just with more trees.
Yep. Now I do have one more Connecticut point, but I'll come back to that.
Okay,
Mark,
yeah.
I know you have a sighting.
I do. There's probably a very famous Melonhead story in Connecticut, published in Weird New England, all over. Everywhere you look, looking this up, this story keeps coming up. It's the story of the Blue Granada, which is a car. This was back in the 1980s. So 5 girls, Megan, Sue, Kim, Deb, Jen, and Karen. Megan, Sue, Kim, Deb, Jen. That's 6. Megan, Sue, Kim, Deb, Jen, and Karen. 6 girls.
5 plus 1.
My bad.
They had a plus 1.
They had a plus 1.
Right.
They're all from Notre Dame High School in Fairfield. So after Friday night lights, after a Friday night football game, they decided they're going to go out, cruise around, get into trouble, I guess, look for dudes, smoke some weed. I don't know. I'm speculating on what they were up to. I don't know. 1980s. Of course they were smoking some weed.
No, they weren't. They were just cruising.
Well, it was the 80s, probably cocaine.
I actually heard that they actually went looking for the Melonheads, but.
Dave, can I?
Wow!
Can I tell the story the way I want?
A block right there.
Sorry.
Can I tell the story the way I want to tell the story?
Sure.
So after watching Miami Vice, snorting some cocaine,
There he did.
these girls wanted to go out. No, so after the football game, they wanted to go out, cruise around, and the one girl told everybody about this street called Dracula's. Hold on, my notes just got messed up because Dave yelled at me.
Dracula's Drive.
I was going to say, it's Dracula's
So
Drive,
it's
right?
actually the street is actually called Velvet Street in the neighboring town of Trumbull.
Okay.
But all the locals call it Dracula Drive because they claim some weird things go
I
down
like
here.
Velvet Street so much more, though. That sounds so nice.
But that Velvet Street's where the king shows up.
You're like,
You ain't nothing but a hound. No, that king.
where do you live? I live on Velvet Street.
God.
All right.
All right.
Come on down to Velvet Street.
But so Megan, one of the 6 girls, not 5, told her friends about the Melonheads and convinced them, like, hey, let's go down to Dracula Drive.
Velvet Street.
Cruise around a little bit. We'll park the car, look, and see if we can spot anything. So they do. They go down there. They get to a point where they stop the car. They leave the headlights on
They were
because there was no
parking.
street lights.
They were parking on Velvet Street? A car full of 6 girls were parking on Velvet Street?
Dracula's Drive.
That's not the emphasis I have, though. It's on the parking thing.
Dracula's Drive. I'm trying to take you away from what you're trying to insinuate.
I was like, what? In the 80s?
So,
Right on, girls. You go.
so Meg and her friends, they stop here, and it's very wooded. No houses, no street lights, nothing. They stop. They leave the headlights of the car on. Because, again, I'm sure teenagers are going to try to scare each other. They're walking out. So they walk about 100 feet from the car, doing probably whatever teenagers do, trying to scare each other. And then they hear the car start. And they hear the doors shut. And then the car comes squealing past them. They jump into the woods to get away from it slightly. And as the car goes by, the interior light of the car is on.
Yep, the dome
And
light.
they see only what they can describe as these big head-shaped things with glowing orange eyes laughing at them as they cruise by with their blue Granada. They stole the car. And to this day, they say that the Melonheads are still cruising around on Friday nights in the blue Granada.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
How do they know how to drive?
That's what I want to bring back when Dave was... You guys keep calling them feral, but I'm like, I don't know, man. They seem to like... maybe they are wicked smart.
So the Granada, that's going to be just is that a 5 on the fly kind of a thing? Is it a
Let's look it up. 1980s.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Now, I will say, while you're looking that up, in versions that I saw of the same story, it was actually a Gran Torino. Not
Well,
a
that's
Granada.
with Clint Eastwood, and,
Right.
and the whole Melonheads situation would have been solved right away.
Oh, you're right about that.
Yeah.
He'd have kicked her ass, and that's it.
Yeah.
Get out of my car.
Get out of my car. Get out of my car. That would have been awesome.
Right turn, Clyde.
So they took off in the car. So there's a whole family.
Yeah, they stole the car.
But there was
and
a whole-
now it's like that's their cruising mobile.
I'm wondering. Well, I mean, they could pick it up, and if they're actual people that are out there, and I guess if they were out there from extremely young age, that they would have gleaned certain things and seen certain things. Now, figuring out the actual mechanics of learning how to drive is one thing,
Right.
but I think maybe on the fly, there's only on a car of that year, there's only a couple things to actually do to take off. You know, you just got to move the thing down and behind the steering wheel. You know, if there was a clutch involved, who knows? If there was a clutch, they wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Right.
How do you know? What makes you think that they couldn't drive stick shift?
Do you not drive stick shift?
Hell yeah, I do.
Okay, when did
I
you?
don't, but-
when did you learn?
In the 80s.
Okay, well, at that time you were 40-ish.
Shut-
So say
Such an
you had-
asshole.
You led me right to it. So, but think if you had never even sat in a car and only seen people, would you know how to drive a stick shift? No, you wouldn't.
No, but maybe they're smarter than you think.
They have giant domes, yeah. And in the 80s, maybe they had a black and white TV, so very well could have.
There's a famous, well, not famous to me because I like Adam Green, but there's a scene in the movie Halloween, and they really don't say much about it, but Michael Myers breaks out and he steals his car. So Adam Green did this little short kind of explaining, like, well, how would a guy who was put into a mental hospital as a kid know how to drive a car?
Right.
So the whole short is him with a driving instructor.
Sitting with a clipboard on the passenger seat,
Yeah.
giving him check marks. That would have been awesome.
So I see what you're saying, but hey, man.
If they were hyper intelligent, that would be awesome. Then yeah, they could figure out anything kind of on the fly.
But you can just keep grinding the gears. You get to go.
Right,
Some
that's what I'm
point.
saying. If it was
once
an
you get in first gear, you can wind that sucker out.
Yeah, and if it was an automatic, then it's just a matter of just pulling down, which you could see from a window, just pulling down on whatever, managing the brake and gas, and figure it out. But a clutch, that would be a whole different scenario.
True.
So was the not Gran Torino, but the Granada.
Yeah, Ford Granada.
Was that a manual or automatic?
I'm trying to find if it was an automatic.
It has to be. It has to be.
It has to be, but most likely it was a stick.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably was a stick shift.
It's like-
no, man. I had they still had automatic cars in the 80s. Why are we acting like that's so far away?
I don't
It's not
know.
that far in the past. We can go back to the future.
It was almost 40 years ago.
Was it?
yeah, well, I was born in 82 and I'm almost 40, so I'm getting old, guys.
Don't give your birth date away. That's how people steal your
my
information.
I
gosh.
didn't give the birth date. I just said
It's like
was in the
my cousin Vinny with
My cousin visit?
My cousin visit with the pause attraction. You know, you got to have an expert come in and say, this is what that model had. And were you able to just jump in?
Hey,
and
either
drive?
way, the Melonheads jumped in. They smashed it forward on the floor, stole the car, and right now they're jumping it over creeks on Connecticut.
Dukes of Hazzard style.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jeez, it's just a story. If only we had to find out the
Really?
Ford actually was automatic. I don't get it. Dave, you had
So
something.
the one other potential origin in Connecticut is that the Melonheads are actually aliens.
Yes. Yes.
And
Bring
that,
it. Yes.
so being an alien, the spindly arms and legs. Plus,
Wait, well, you said that like you were going to say, being an alien, I believe that they are. The way you just said that, are you something you want to tell everybody?
just about the Melonheads.
Okay.
So the misshapen head and the weird teeth. There's a number of people who think that there was an alien landing at some point, and that they've started a colony,
Yeah.
and this colony is the Melonheads in Connecticut, and they're the ones sulking about the woods. And Interestingly enough, every story about Connecticut, even though they say that they're known to eat human flesh, has said that the Melonheads are non-violent and nothing to worry about.
Interesting.
I found a little segment or a little clip in one of the articles saying that the Melonheads actually have their own little colony deep in the woods, and they're rich.
What?
Why?
How?
What do you mean, why?
Why?
Why what?
Why are they rich?
Why-
Because they have a lot of money.
Well, I know that, Jackhammer. Why would they need to be rich?
Maybe they're like a dragon. They just accumulate shiny things.
I just think that the why with the rich. I would agree that yes, they'd have a little community off in the woods. They're to themselves. They're solitary community. They don't want to be seen by anybody. But the rich thing, what are they, investment brokers or something?
Well, the rich thing would be like, this is how we keep the government from flying planes over our area.
Ooh, yeah.
They're using their money to keep people, like, that's why we don't know about their community, because it's keeping them off the radar. That sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Are we bringing it back to M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah.
I think we are.
Ding dong. Twist. Yeah, but I kind of went where you were going, Dave, is where I was thinking that this, maybe if it's not a true blue alien community out there, but this Dr. Crow might have been responsible for hybridizing people and aliens into
Maybe the cranial injections was simply
Correct.
the bonding agent to keep it from the DNA from fighting each other.
Correct. So they could kind of catalyze the future of this alien, race into our normal society. Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I would like to think that the Melonheads are stealing cars and they have their own chop shop, and then building and then selling that and making their own
Nice,
Fast and the Furious cars.
Right.
nice.
Yeah, that's how I would like it to go down.
Like Chip Foose, just with in Connecticut and Ohio and Michigan.
Yeah, it's all syndicated. That's why the chop shops work from Connecticut, Michigan. They have like a triangle. That's how I would like to end the story.
Okay.
They actually run a chop shop.
So if you ever want to customize your vehicle, take it to the Melonheads. They know what to do. They're super smart. They're Melonheads.
Correct.
And if they need to get a hose off or something off your engine, they just chew it
So,
off.
Lish, you for someone that kind of tries to keep things on the tracks,
I was just letting you guys
what
go.
happened? What happened
I don't
today?
know. I don't know, man.
Where are those tracks going these days?
Yeah.
Well, I know where they're headed. They're headed to listener feedback. Why don't we take a quick break? We'll be right back with all more shenanigans
And sharp teeth.
and sharp teeth. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. The Melonheads. Lish, you were talking about something about their telepathical abilities that you didn't get to bring up as much as you
No.
wanted to on the first half. So, my
Well,
dear, bring it up.
I found something that the radiation possibly. What?
Oh, I'm pointing to the hot sauce that Nash brought.
That's on the weekend show.
Oh, that's for the
Yeah.
weekend show. That's a Patreon thing that we do. Join the Patreon and all kinds of cookiness
Mark
goes
is like
down.
signaling a plane over there, and
I know, I
we're
was
trying.
like,
What
what?
are you talking about?
I was pointing to hot
You
sauce.
distracted me. I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
Oh
Sorry,
my
you know
gosh!
what? I'll restart it. Hey, all right, everybody, we're back. And hey, Liz, you want to talk about their telepathical abilities?
Yeah. So
I got that dude telepathical.
yeah.
Is that wrong?
No, it's fine. It's good. It's good.
Telepath-
So I found something that because of the radiation.
No, whoa. Why is Nash telepathic? Telepathic.
You don't need the Lee on the end, but it's still fine. It works.
No, it's good. It's good. It's fine. It's good. You did great.
Hey, Liz, you want to talk about their telepathic abilities. So why don't you kick that one off?
All right. So I saw something.
Some bitches.
God. Are you guys done? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're there.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, let me start over. So I found that because of the radiation that a lot of these kids receive from these nefarious doctors or whatever,
Dr. Crows?
Dr. Crow, and then there was a bunch of like unnamed doctors that I came across. But anyway,
They were interns mostly.
right. They gained telekinetic abilities, which I think that is to move things, correct? Telekinetic?
Right, like
Yeah.
Jean Grey in
right.
the X-Men.
Right.
That'd be really handy. Now I'm thinking that now if they had telepathical abilities, like what
Are you
said.
making fun of me?
No.
Because if I had those abilities, I would just start moving that mic away from your mouth. Oh, wait, I sort of have that. I can just turn your volume off here.
But that, you know what? That would explain the ability to have these kids get into a car and be able to
Just
drive
fire it up.
Yeah.
and just fire it up and be able to take off. Because
Right.
if they're using a telepathic process to be able to shift it into gear or just to make it go, that would make perfect sense.
Well, to go back to your whole thing with the clutch, to be able to telepathically shift it into drive is one thing. To depress the clutch, put it
Right.
into one, no.
Just because you can move things with your mind doesn't mean that it works
Right.
without you knowing how
You
it works.
yeah, you're right.
Right.
You have
Right.
to.
Yeah.
So even Jean Grey couldn't drive a manual car if she didn't know
I was going to say, unless she knows how to do
She
it.
has to know how to.
Unless they weren't, it was never in drive, and they were just
Although-
making
They were
it
just moving
move.
the car
They were
with
just
their
moving the car.
Didn't Jean Grey...
oh, with their mind, but it was
Yeah.
going. It sped by them.
Liz, you were saying?
Yes, didn't...
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's your time. My bad.
No, it's okay. Didn't Jean Grey, didn't she fly the spaceship?
Yes, she did.
But she used somebody else's memories or their thoughts on how to fly because she didn't know how to fly.
She went into like their mind and then kind
Yeah.
of bounced them as like a repeater,
Right.
like a Wi-Fi repeater for her telepathic
Yeah.
ability to fly the plane. Yeah,
Right.
100%. That's what I'm saying. If you have telekinesis and telepathy, you should be able to go and retrieve that information. And
I
fly it.
didn't think it had anything to do with like getting somebody's mind. It's like I'm going to will this car to go down the
Right.
street
Well,
as fast
so-
as I can possibly push it.
All I saw was the telekinetic, which is just being able to move things with your mind, not to get into other people's minds. So
it'd be like she's filled with metachlorians. They have
You
the force.
shut up about those metachlorians.
You know, and
That doesn't exist.
and these kids, the
No.
Melonheads could get in the car and rev
The
it.
force is not metachlorians. You stop.
Well, the kids could get in there and rev the engine because that's what they think that they're doing to drive it, and then give the whole Yoda force action
Nope.
to make it move down the street
So without,
while doing the driving at the
Dave.
while revving at the same time.
so all I was going to say, without the use of metachlorians,
They're strong. They're
is
so
that-
strong. They're in your blood cells.
the one of the
You
questions
probably
I
love the
had
prequels, don't you?
with the blue Granada.
You frickin' love the prequels.
Constantly being seen as though they're still driving it around today. Like, well, even if they had some way of finding gas, they would still have, like, what happens when the timing belt goes out? How are they going to replace that? But if they're doing it all through telekinesis, if the car is never actually running,
Correct.
then
Then they
could
can
explain
continue
that
to
they just
cruise
keep-
around in the
Correct.
blue Granada.
Yeah.
Correct. Just like if you're heavy
That
with
is way
metachlorians.
easier than actually
Right.
getting oil changes and state inspections and everything.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you agree on metachlorians that they're real.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah.
No.
You just agreed with it.
No.
Now, we agreed on telekinetic, not on metachlorians.
Nobody.
They're
come on.
one and the same.
Only George Lucas agrees on metachlorians. Nobody else on this the planet Earth agrees on that.
Alicia is like saying, "You guys need to stop and shut up."
Oh, is that what that signal? Is that what that hand gesture
that
was?
was more like stop and move on. Maybe I don't know.
It's when you
Nash
have
started it.
when you
I know
have
he did.
the force.
It was all
powers.
Nash's fault. It's always his fault.
I didn't bring up the telekinesis and the telepathical powers.
I didn't say it like that. Come on. Come on now. We'll save the metachlorians for the weekend show that we're going to record after this if you want to hear that.
But
Become a Patreon.
But if you have telekinesis, I think that's a very plausible thing to be able to rev the car and then literally float it down the road. Because then you're not actually putting it in gear and doing anything like that. That to me makes more sense if you have the ability to do so.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you for your final thought, Nash. We're going to move into
What? That wasn't my final thought.
we're going to move into listener feedback.
I was robbed.
Do you have a final thought?
Not yet.
You have more? No,
Not yet.
Okay.
One will come though.
First, I would like to kick off listener feedback with a massive, giant shout out from all of us to our friends over in Iceland who put us on Number 34 position of the top 100 comedy podcast
Wow.
in Iceland.
Wow.
To our friends over there, thank you so much. I'm glad you're
thank
enjoying
you.
the content. Thank you.
Thank
and
you, thank
maybe when we do our world tour, we'll kick it off in Iceland.
Ooh, yeah.
Boom. Thank you. All right. Another shout out to all our new Patreon members, Danny Garcia, Andrew Maudsley, Gonzalo Ventura, and Brody Wortman. Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much
you.
for joining the Pudding Skin Club
For the win.
for the win. Yep.
Pudding skin for the win.
We thank you for being part of the Patreon.
Yes.
Hope you enjoy the content we make over there, and more coming. Oh, some sweet stuff coming. That sounded weird.
Yeah.
Sure did.
But Andrew, new Patreon member, I did reply. I shot him a quick message thanking him, and he said, "You are very welcome. Love the show. I have just caught up with all the episodes over the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
And needed more to listen to. Keep up the good work and Pudding Skin for the win."
For the win.
Wow. Well, thanks, man. I hope you enjoy everything we do over there. And thank you so much for listening.
I could go for some pudding.
Yeah, I know you could. We heard from Danny, again, our new Patreon member. "Hey, guys, I've been listening for some time now, and it's been a blast. You guys make my workday go faster and less stressful. LOL." Well,
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah. Less stress is always
less stress is always good.
For sure.
I have a ghost story for you guys, but it's not from me. It's from a song in Mexico, which was based on a true story. The song goes on to say that a truck driver spots a beautiful woman on the side of the road. He then stops and asks what her name is and where she was headed. She tells him she is headed to her parents' house, who are waiting for her. Then in the song it says, on their way there, the woman tells the trucker to be careful as they're about to drive through some dangerous hills. After that, she points to some lights that are coming up ahead and tells the truck driver, "That's where I live. That's my parents' ranch." So the trucker drops her off and tells her that if she wants, he can give her a ride back when he passes by this way on his way back home. She agrees, and after 3 to 4 days, the truck driver stops back and stops at this ranch where he dropped her off. He walks up to the house, knocks on it, and an older woman answers the door and he explains to her that he promised he would pick this woman back up on his way home. Well, the old lady explains that, that was my daughter, and she died not too far from where he found her. And in the song, it goes that she continues to try to get home.
Aw.
Wow.
Wow.
That gave me some
Yeah.
goosebumps.
I wonder where that took place at.
Mexico?
It was in Mexico. Yeah.
New Mexico or Mexico?
Yeah, so, no, Mexico.
Mexico.
It's a Mexican. I actually looked it up. He gave me the name of the song, but I didn't write it down. But no, it's a song he heard. Let me finish talking now.
Which is a question.
No questions.
Sensitive.
But ever since she appears without hope, but always trying to make the effort to get home. So people continue to see her, her spirit. Hope you guys like this story. I've always heard this song as a child, and it seemed to amaze me. Anyways, I love the podcast, and keep up the great work. I hope to hear from you guys.
Aw.
Danny, thank you so much. Hopefully I told the story properly. But yeah, and I did look the song up, but I don't want to play anything because then YouTube would demonetize us and all that jazz. Not that we really monetize YouTube, but they flag you for everything.
We have monetized coming in? Wow.
I do not monetize
That's
YouTube,
great.
but they flag you regardless.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Right.
Thank you. We heard from Larry G. "Hey, guys. Sorry I'm late to the show on this, but here's the story I promised in regards to the Talpa tangent things. You guys brought up imaginary friends and spiritual animals, and it reminded me of something that happened the 2 times that I had a serious fever when I was growing up. We're talking like 101 degrees for longer than a day type fever.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Each time when I tried to sleep at night, I'd be woken up in the middle of the night hearing a dog in my room, and I would see what looked like either a Siberian husky or a wolf. And this strange little girl who looked like a cartoon made flesh. The big swoopy hair, big eyes, the strange high voice that they always put for girls in old cartoons. She'd be saying to me, "You'll be okay tomorrow." She'll always say that, and there'd always be this more solemn and darker guy beside her. And sure enough, the fever would break by the time I woke up in the morning. Now, whether that was just the fever talking or not, I don't think I'll ever know. But it was the first thing that came to mind when you guys were talking about the tapas. Still love the show, and can't wait to see what you guys get up to next. What do you mean by you still love the show? Did we do something that you're like, it's fine, I still love you?
I would imagine that listening to our show is like riding a roller coaster.
Okay.
Sometimes you're like, man, this show is awesome. I'm having a great time. And then you're like, oh, wow. Mark.
And then they hear episode 120.
Yeah, and they're like, ooh, not every show is gold. Yeah. And then it comes right back up on the next one.
Yeah, well, thanks, Larry. Appreciate that. And, it made me think about this one time. I had a fever. I probably was the flu. I don't know. I was a little kid. But I thought that my grandma was at my house, and she had left before talking to me. And I was so like, why would grandma come over and not say hi? It doesn't make sense. And I looked out the window and saw her car leaving my house, but the car was leaving these puff of smokes like in a cartoon where they come out like circles out of the exhaust, like pop, 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 pop. So it was like that cartoon fashion. So I found that interesting, like, holy crap, when I had a fever, I saw cartoon shit too.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's weird.
Okay. Thanks, Larry. We heard from Alberto. This was a very good episode in reference to the Brushy.
Oh, the Brushy. Okay.
Brushy State Penitentiary.
Brushy Mountain.
Brushy Mountain.
Yeah.
Loved it. Made my day go fast. I heard the episode twice.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad that it made your day awesome. And surprised that Dave made it out of the hollow earth.
So are we.
Hey, man, we're always surprised, dude, that he shows up.
Yeah, me too.
We don't even, at this point, we don't give a crap if it's Lizard Dave or regular Dave. He's here.
As long as one of them shows up, we're good.
Right,
we're good to go.
We're just really happy. We hear from Will. LOL. All I know is Nash either needs to rewatch Twister or maybe stop talking about Twister. It's a great movie.
No, it's not. Oh, my gosh. Gotta lay off the crack, man. That's a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie.
Will's not on crack. Stop that.
He's not on crack. No.
We heard from Larry G again. Man, Nash is the drama of the crew. That's all.
Okay, I'll take that.
That's all I gotta say. About to set up a Patreon only boxing match for you guys and him. LOL.
Oh, boy.
We hear from Joe P. What's up, man? Hey, guys. Hey, Mark. It's been a while since I emailed, but I had to after hearing Nash shit on every movie from my youth. Twister.
Not every movie.
Last Crusade. And then he had the balls to bring up Con Air.
It's terrible.
That movie is Nick Cage's best next to the National Treasure movies.
Oh, my God. I got nauseous when he said that.
Wow.
Oh, God,
I can't believe he went there.
Oh, my gosh.
Haha. Hope you guys are doing well, and if you ever do a weird New Jersey app, I would love to be part of it somehow or just a reference for you. I've been to a few places around here. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Joe, if we do a weird New Jersey, yes, you can be on.
Oh, 100%.
Joe, he's a podcaster too. Love the guy. Awesome. And he loves funk beer.
But he has apparently
but I would
pretty
like
bad,
to rewind. You said something.
bad taste in movies, though.
No, I think that's you, my dear.
Actually, that says it all. Alicia summed it up. You are the one, sir, that had the bad taste in movies.
Nobody brought up how good Ghost Rider was. That was a great Nick Cage movie.
That is not actually a great Nick Cage movie at all.
It was great. His whole thing where he turns
I'm
into
going to
the
rewind a
Ghost Rider.
second. Did you try to make fun of National Treasure?
It's terrible.
Why is it? How is it possibly terrible?
It's not.
Give me just give me one. reason why it's terrible. Not
Okay,
just
so
one. Give
so
me one
during
thing.
that entire movie, okay, nothing is found, right? Nothing has been found.
They found a shit ton of
No,
treasure. What are you
And
talking
Follow
about?
me on this. Nothing.
I'm sorry for all our listeners. I said the S word
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 times.
Nothing is
it happens.
found in the whole course of the movie until Nick Cage shows up, and then 2 minutes after, Boromir shows up and does the exact same thing right after him. So what you're telling me is that there's nobody as smart as Boromir or Nick Cage to be able to figure this stuff out, right?
So the way you describe this, that you've actually never seen the movie, you only watched the trailer.
No, I saw the movie.
No,
is that
Nick
the one
Cage finds
with the
things-
whole glasses and
Right-
the
right out of the gate,
the
Nick-
17 lenses?
Right out of the gate, Nick Cage finds the Charlotte. Boromir does double cross him. What are you talking about? Look, National Treasure is an excellent,
not a national
fun film.
treasure of a
Oh,
movie.
it is totally a national treasure.
No, it is not. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I would not say maybe excellent's not the best word if you're going to be a cinephile and kind of break this down, but it
There's
is
so
a
many other
very
Nick Cage
enjoyable
movies that are
film,
really, really good.
And I love to see how they kind of do an alt history. They use like Philadelphia, certain things, but they all of a sudden like you can look at the dollar bill and through a bottle of water see.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
there's some really dumb things. I get it.
It's
But
called
it's
called
fun
the whole
because
movie.
you know why it's fun? Because it's a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
And every single one of us wants to be a Goonie, and we want to go on a treasure hunt.
The
So
Goonies-
National Treasure is a great fun time.
If you're comparing it to Goonies, then really National Treasure is, dare I say, a ripoff of Goonies.
well,
Oh my gosh, the whole world just exploded.
no, it didn't because
No,
we're
it
still sitting here.
didn't. Yeah.
Not a ripoff. Like
You just compared
it's
it to Goonies.
No. I
Goonies
said
was a great movie.
I said all of us want to be a Goonie.
You're
We all want to go find treasure.
Yes. But National Treasure, and now so some of the things in that movie I really, really like. I like the hidden messages and the bills because there is a lot of crazy stuff hidden in our history. I just think that the movie itself is kind of, I don't know. It took me like 3 times to get through it.
That's bullshit. I
fell
I don't
asleep
actually
during the
believe
movie.
that.
You know, it was just kind of boring. And
Well, we'll pick this discussion up on the weekend show that we're going to record after this. Thanks, Joe, for starting like more arguments. Love you, bro. Hope you're doing well over there in New Jersey.
Yeah.
We heard from Andy. Guys, I'm getting caught up on regular episodes at the gym, and I dropped the plate I was holding because I started laughing so hard. Thanks for the heads up on to not do any above the head lifting while listening. Nash, you can comment on that.
yeah. You don't want to be doing that. That's bad. It's bad for the shoulders and balance. If you're listening and laughing at the same time, it's not good.
Well, I imagine at this point nobody is lifting and laughing. Everybody's lifting in anger, getting like gigantic. Like, you know what? When I run into Nash, talking smack
That's
about
why I've been
National
working
Treasure.
out so much, so if these
Hey.
things happen, I can defend myself.
And Nick, I know you're listening. Hey, man, he doesn't speak for all of us. Like, I love National Treasure. You just keep doing your thing, Nick.
Yeah, he's just talking for himself. So
Yeah, well, you know,
it's all him.
it's all. I've
What
got.
did you have a favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
I really liked Ghost Rider. I did. Did you see
Wow.
the history of swear words, which he's a narrator?
Oh, he was
of?
hilarious.
Yeah.
He was awesome in that. He's a fantastic actor. I just think that I don't know. There are some of the movies that he did.
Well, it started with because you made a comment about Con Air. Do you really not like Con Air?
It's okay. It's. I give it like out of 1 out of 10. I give it like a 3.5. I just
A 1 out of 10, you give it 3.5.
yeah.
Hey, Joe P. So, you got time in your schedule to be on a show called Paranormal Punchers?
It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, here he is. He's on the airplane again.
Boy.
He and his mullet. Okay, sure. Yeah. I just not. I don't know. It just never grabbed me. It's just, yeah.
I think we may have to de-escalate this situation.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Alicia's giving us the swirling probe movement with her hand.
Are you the John Cusack of the situation? You want to get this resolved and
Right, yes.
with the least amount of body count you
Right,
can?
yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dave, for segueing into our final listener feedback from Megan. Now, Alicia's going to read this because I'm sure at this point nobody wants to hear Nash and I talk anymore.
All right, so this is from Megan. She says, "Hey guys, it's Megan. I wrote a long time ago with this story. While I haven't had much to say, I still listen. Forgive me for being behind the times, but I was attempting to catch up on episodes and got to the episode about the tulpas. I read the description and was super excited to listen to it. Here's the problem. I can't get it to play. Here's what happened. I downloaded it and put it on the car after dropping my daughter off at daycare. She'd made me promise that she could send any of her invisible dogs and cats to me if they misbehaved at daycare that day. To which I said, of course. So with eager anticipation, I started it up and got a tiny dose of some good hearty listener feedback. And after less than a minute of listening, my phone went black.
Oh, no.
The display console in the center of the car went black, and then it all started back up as if nothing happened. My phone couldn't pull up the podcast again for several minutes. When I was finally able to get it to respond, I opened up that episode, and what do I get? A children's podcast with a story about a leprechaun. When I got to my office, I restarted my phone, reloaded the episode, and tried again. I got the same thing. I tried another episode, and no problem. In fact, I'm listening to the mysterious Coral Castle as I write this. I've tried other podcasts, no problems. I've had this problem for over a week. Everything else except this episode will play properly. Here's where this gets creepy for me. My 4-year-old daughter has accumulated no less than 18 dogs and 16 cats, all invisible, according to her. They all have names, but several of them are around a lot more than others. They are so present in our home that they've woken her up in the middle of the night, broken rules around the house, and she yells at them for shredding the rug in her room. And just recently, I noticed one section of a rug in her room looks like it's been shredded by a cat. On occasion, I can see a dog-height shadow dart out of the door of her room at night, which often gets dismissed by me to the eyes adjusting to the dim bedtime lighting. I've gotten to the point where she and I have to tell them to get out of her room at night so she can get a good night's sleep. Earlier this spring, another psychic in our community asked me out of the blue if my toddler was gathering lost animal spirits to her. Maybe she is. Maybe she's just extremely imaginative. She makes sure to feed them breakfast every day. Could it be coincidence that just that one episode will only play a 13-minute story about a leprechaun? Maybe. But I've had enough experience with the paranormal to think my daughter's friends are having a joke at my expense or don't want me to know something. Has anyone else reported having problems with that episode? Thanks.
Megan, thank you for sharing that story. First, no. No one has ever said there was a problem. I downloaded it myself from several different applications to see. Plays just fine. In fact, you say you downloaded it and dropped your daughter off, started up, and like you were right into like a first minute of listener feedback. We don't do listener feedback now till the second half. So the first minute would have been jumping into the main topic. So that's weird.
That is weird.
So I tested as much as I could to see if I could debunk it for you, but the episode's fine.
Yeah, and you might have a situation where your daughter is extremely sensitive, and oh my gosh, you could have like, I don't want to say like a sixth sense situation, but you could have a situation where your daughter has got some abilities.
But your daughter also said, 16 of her invisible pets are cats?
Yeah, she has 18 dogs and 16 cats.
So we were watching this morning while we were eating our breakfast a video on YouTube about cats being buttheads. And
oh my
look,
God.
they were bad. They were attacking people randomly. People were just, this one cat was on the street and people were walking by. It was just smacking them. It was just being a giant turd. And I told her, it's like, I'm sorry, but no, we can never have a cat again. Cats are evil.
No, they're not.
Dude, you got to watch this video.
No,
yeah,
they're
it's
not.
hilarious.
They're just.
There's some cats were just coming out of nowhere, just attaching themselves to people's heads, smacking them. It's like they were like out of Alien trying to like. It was crazy.
They probably deserved it. You never know.
I don't know, man. I trust dogs. I don't trust cats.
No.
But they will never poop on your lawn. I tell you what, cats will never poop on your lawn and then turn around. If they're housebroken, they're in the house. You know.
But whoa.
Whoa.
So how's that a benefit? Yeah, my dog uses the grass, so my lawn actually is the dog's toilet. Fine. But the cat we had pooped on the carpet. So which do you think is better, the yard or the carpet?
Well, I don't want to be out there mowing the grass and hit a soft spot. You know what I'm saying? Because then it.
So
then
you
it,
want to
like,
be
vaporizes.
in your house, getting ready to watch a Marvel movie and step on a soft spot, like because
No.
that's what cats do. They leave soft spots.
You just go and you just go pick it up and you put it in the trash. That's all.
You don't just save this argument for the weekend show. I just can't.
You know, and the kitty cats are so friendly in the morning, and they just want to snuggle and be right next to you.
It depends on the cat.
Well, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure some cats are beautiful and wonderful.
Yes.
Everybody's pet is everybody's pet. And I'm sure you love them.
But to have
I love Dave's dog, Ramen.
Ramen's a good boy.
Yes.
But
I
to
wish
have
Dave would give me his dog and take my dog.
16 cats and what, 18 dogs? Isn't that what you said, Alicia? 16 and 18?
Oh, I know
18
why.
dogs and 16 cats.
Man, that's a lot. I think
is.
that her daughter has got some serious abilities at her disposal that she's not aware of yet.
Most
Because
likely, yeah.
That's the way I see that.
Well, thank you, everyone. If you want to send us listener feedback, go to paranormalpunchers.com. You find all the ways to contact us. Hey, if you want to help the show out and you listen to us on Apple with the what is the Apple podcast app on an Apple
purple
phone.
the purple one on the phone.
Smash that 5-star. It actually helps the show. That's because how Apple is. No, their app actually does reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if you like us, hit us up over there with a 5-star. If you don't like us, why are you even listening to it at this point? You should never have made it this far. Thank you so much, guys. I love hanging out, talking to you. This was a fun topic. We had a lot of fun. If you have a topic idea, again, go to paranormalpunchers.com. You find all the ways to submit your topic ideas. We love you. We're out of here. We're going to record some Patreon stuff.
Yep.
It's going to be a blast. We have some video ideas coming up. It's going to be a blast. I don't know what else to say. Nash, any last comments?
There are a few good Nick Cage
Okay.
movies.
Oh.
I'll definitely say that. I would definitely say that there are a few really good ones. Just the ones that we've talked the most about suck the balls, and that's
Oh.
okay.
Wow.
And
I think we're
even
still
though-
PG-13.
Yeah. Even though Twister is not a Nick Cage movie or The Mummy, the original Mummy, that's okay. That's
Wait.
okay. What?
Are you about to step on the mummy?
Yeah. What the heck?
Anyway,
With Brand, wait, whoa.
Stop right there.
You stop.
Yeah, I think he's just trolling us now.
No.
Yeah.
They're just tough movies to get through. Anyway, so there are some good flicks out there. There's some good. I liked Wolf Cop better than all of those movies.
Well, Wolf Cop actually is great.
It was a great movie.
We'll pick this up over on the
Yeah.
weekend show. Dave, any final thoughts?
No.
Lish, any final comments for everybody?
No.
Wow. So this ended strangely.
I cleared the house on that one,
Yeah,
right?
you did.
Well,
Emptied the dugout.
you did the dugout?
I emptied the dugout.
Oh, okay.
God.
Well, that was a fun topic we discussed. Love the listener feedback. You guys are awesome. Be safe out there. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Hit us up if you want to talk, chat, whatever.
Bamf.
And, well, a big old bamf.
Bamf.
And thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. And remember, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.